get to what we learned from this. What has this week's Bible reading taught you about Jehovah? Brother Worthen?
Well, it taught me that I was young and my mom and my dad trying to get me to follow the way that Jehovah wants it done. But going to the article here, and in here it's saying that the Bible reading does help others to prep, study, and personal study.
Sister Coburn?
And I was really touched with the example of James and Peter. And I appreciate Jehovah's avenue of prayer, being able to go to him and petition him about anything. So today when we hear of a brother or sister that's enduring a trial, then we definitely make them the subject of our prayers, knowing that it pleases Jehovah, and also knowing that they would do the same for us.
Yes, thank you. Sister Easton?
In chapter 12, the account about Herod, I thought it also taught us how Jehovah will, at the right time, exact vengeance upon his enemies. So we need to keep that in mind for his coming great day, that at the right time and in the right way, Jehovah will make sure that his enemies are done with.
That's right, even if it includes work. Brother Morton?
In Acts chapter 13, verse 48, we see that Paul and Barnabas spoke boldly to the Jews there. And it says, when those of the nations heard this, they began to rejoice and glorify the word of Jehovah. And all those who were rightly disposed for everlasting life became believers. That is a reminder that Jehovah is the one that's drawing them, not us. Paul had a different style than Jesus did, different than Peter. And Barnabas was different, even from Paul. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we are out there being used by him and let Jehovah draw the people to him through us. And so they were available. They had that opportunity to see that, and we need to do the same.
Yes. So one other question that we have, what other spiritual gems have you discovered in this week's Bible reading? Brother Stan?
I was pretty impressed by what Paul and Barnabas did in chapter 14, along about 11. Here they had performed a miracle and actually brought this person back to health. He wasn't able to walk or anything. He said, get up and walk, and so he did. And here the crowd, they were just so and delighted at what had happened and so forth. They started bringing praise to their own gods. And so Paul and Barnabas leaped out into the crowd, hey, we're men just like you. And but you see, we can even relate to this today, that many people are kind of fickle. They're a little bit fickle. And so 1 minute they could be one thing, and the next minute they turned around and they stoned Paul and left him for dead. So the whole thing is, Paul, he finally admitted that, hey, we're going to enter into the kingdom with many tribulations. So we got to admit reality too.
Yes. So thank everyone for their comments, and we'll turn it back over to Brother Morton.
Took your time lowering that. Yeah, I saw that. You guys all saw that, right? Took your time lowering that. Okay. Well, with that in mind, let's open up our Bibles again, and we're going to look at Acts chapter 12, verses 1 through 17. But before we do that, we'll dismiss our auxiliary class and a small audience that will go back and be able to encourage our students back there. Our counselor will be Brother Scott, so follow Brother Scott. And we'll give them a couple seconds to get situated. And since they're on their way back there, now we can have our Bibles open to Acts chapter 12. We're going to be considering the first 17 verses of the book of Acts, and we'll give our attention to Brother Coburn as he reads that for us this week.
About that time, Herod the king began mistreating some of those of the congregation. But he put James, the brother of John, to death by the sword. When he saw that it was pleasing to the Jews, he also went on to arrest Peter. This was during the days of the unleavened bread. He seized him and put him in prison, turning him over to 4 shifts of 4 soldiers each to guard him, intending to bring him out before the people after the Passover. So Peter was being kept in the prison, but the congregation was intensely praying to God for him. When Herod was about to bring him out, that night Peter was sleeping bound with 2 chains between 2 soldiers, and guards in front of the door were keeping watch over the prison. But look, Jehovah's angel was standing there, and a light shone in the prison cell. Hitting Peter on the side, he woke him, saying, "Get up quickly." And the chains fell off his hands. The angel said to him, "Get dressed and put on your sandals." He did so. Finally he said to him, "Put your outer garment on and keep following me." And he went out and kept following him. But he did not know that what was happening through the angel was real. In fact, he thought he was seeing a vision. Going past the first sentinel guard and the second, they reached the iron gate leading into the city, and this opened to them by itself. After they went out, they made their way down one street, and immediately the angel departed from him. And Peter, realizing what was happening, said, "Now I know for sure that Jehovah sent his angel and rescued me from Herod's hand and from everything that the Jews were expecting to happen." After he realized this, he went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, who is called Mark, where quite a few were gathered together and were praying. When he knocked at the door of the gateway, a servant girl named Rhoda came to answer the call. On recognizing the voice of Peter, she was so overjoyed that she did not open the gate, but ran inside and reported that Peter was standing at the gateway. They said to her, "You're out of your mind." But she kept insisting that it was so. They began to say, "It is an angel." But Peter remained there knocking. When they opened the door, they saw him and were astonished. But he motioned to them with his hand to be silent, and told them in detail how Jehovah had brought him out of the prison. And he said, "Report these things to James and the brothers." With that, he went out and traveled to another place.
Thank you, Brother Coburn. Appreciate the handling of that reading this week. When we look at that account, we think about what was going on at the time of that, and it's a very encouraging, very exciting account. It helps all pioneers and people that go out in the ministry to realize that Jehovah pays attention and he cares about us and that he looks after us. And why that's important, if you noticed how Brother Coburn was reading, he was working on modulation. Now, modulation is something that's very important. You could miss the whole context of that reading. You could get that Jehovah really wasn't that excited to save Peter to help further the congregations if it wasn't read correctly. And Brother Coburn did that. He adjusted his volume, he changed his pace, he varied his pitch, and he was laying a foundation to help get an appreciation for what was being said. Now, I would like for you to work on your volume just a little bit more. There were some opportunities where you could really emphasize some of the things that were going on there, but still a very good reading. We don't want to be too loud. We don't want to draw too much attention, but just enough to season the material enough for it with our appetite. We thank you for your hard work on that and look forward to your next talk. Okay, now we'll give our attention to Sister Snow and Sister Sam as they handle our initial call this week, and let's give them our attention.
Hi, my name's Lorena. What's yours?